It was a very organic process. I looked through our archives and tried to make groupings that made sense, and I organized the book around poetry. Poetry and photography are a natural pairing because they both condense a thought, an image, an emotion, and they speak of something larger at the same time. So it was a beautiful thing to be able to frame each section with a verse of poetry by a Harvard luminary like T.S. Eliot, Wallace Stevens, E.E. Cummings, Margaret Atwood, Adrienne Rich, and have the images within the section reflect back on the verse of poetry. One of the best examples is probably the Margaret Atwood verse. This image of the FOP students, which is the freshman outdoors program, beautifully reflects this verse. It's maybe a week before they actually begin their studies, and they're on this really transformative trip where they get to meet all their fellow students before they settle into their academic studies.
One of the things I look for when I'm taking pictures is basically to just be spontaneous, to be open to what things you see, and try to be ready for the unexpected, and hoping to connect on some level or express how you feel about the world. Each of us has our own kind of subjects we're interested in, so working at a place like Harvard, the whole world it kind of falls into your lap here. If you look and you're open, you'll find something that connects with your own vision, your own interests.
I like to try to personalize the work a little bit. If I'm doing a portrait, it's an evolving process where I get comfortable with the subject, they get comfortable with me, and try to get an image. I mean, we're just capturing a fraction of a second in time, but try to get an image that says something about that person, that maybe expresses something deeper, but capturing a moment that really reflects who they are or what their work is about at a deeper level. The other thing that I like doing besides portraits is sports. Obviously, you can't set up nearly as much, but you know, aside from shooting peak action, it's nice to try to show another aspect of the game.
And my shooting style, it depends on the situation. If I'm photographing someone one-on-one, my main objective initially is to make them comfortable and to establish a rapport. From there, spend as much time as possible with them, as much as they will allow, and try to find different ways to photograph them outside of what's traditional. I think you talk to them, look them in the eye, ask them about what's important to them. Often it's family or pets or work. Sometimes work is the connector, but you find something that somehow connects you to them, and you don't do all the talking, you don't do all the listening. You know, I think that there is definitely a back and forth that has to go on, otherwise there's no connection.
My style of photography is one of capturing and finding moments rather than sort of manufacturing or making things happen. I'm more of a hands-off photographer. I like to lurk in the background and search for moments that are gonna happen. I'd say a fly on the wall is a good example of what kind of photographer that I'm always trying to be. I think in those sort of transitional moments that people aren't paying attention or people aren't seeing or understanding is when you find a beautiful moment that becomes timeless.
I would say I'm always looking for the beauty in things and the humanity in people. And so I think that's what comes across in my images. When I was traveling with Drew Faust, the president of Harvard, in Asia, her husband, Charles Rosenberg, used to say when he saw me, "Here comes the immortalizer." He was being very sweet and funny, but he really was pinpointing something very important about what we do every day, and that is photograph Harvard. We're capturing a time and place here. And it will someday, you know, land in the archives, and it will serve to define this time here at Harvard. And I think that's something really special that we do all the time. And I like to imagine that someday Somebody will be poring over our images in preparation for the 500th anniversary of Harvard, and they'll get a really good sense of what the university looked like today.